I was checking my phone during a boring conference call when my wife's voice memo came through. I smiled, expecting her usual sweet check-in. I tapped play. Patricia's voice was breathy, intimate. "Brandon, baby? I can't stop thinking about last night. The way you touched me." My hand froze. My coffee mug slipped, crashed to the floor. But I kept listening. "I transferred another $50,000 today. He has no idea. The scholarship fund he's so proud of? Almost $500,000 gone, and he's too busy saving the world to notice. And when the life insurance finally pays out, God will be set for life. Sometimes I wish he'd just, have an accident or something." The memo ended. 37 seconds that destroyed 8 years of marriage. My name is Anthony Mitchell. I'm 34 years old, CEO of SecureShield Technologies, a cybersecurity firm I built from nothing. I live in Denver with my wife Patricia and our 6-year-old daughter Audrey. Or at least I thought I knew who I lived with. The woman in that voice memo? I didn't recognize her at all. I sat there in my home office, staring at my phone like it was a grenade that had already exploded. The coffee pooled around my feet, seeping into the carpet Patricia had picked out 3 years ago. She'd spent weeks choosing the perfect shade of gray. Now it was ruined just like everything else. But I didn't move. I just sat there, my mind racing through every moment of our marriage, looking for the signs I'd missed. How long had this been going on? Who the hell was Brandon? And my sister's scholarship fund, the one thing I'd built to honor Maya's memory, she'd been stealing from it? I replayed the memo. Then again. And again. Each time her words cut deeper. "Sometimes I wish he'd just have an accident." My own wife fantasizing about my death. For money. For some guy named Brandon. The rage came then, white-hot and blinding. I wanted to storm upstairs where she was probably making dinner, wanted to scream, to demand answers. But something stopped me. Maybe it was my training. Maybe it was survival instinct. Or maybe it was the cold, calculated part of me that hadn't died when I left the FBI. Please, before I continue, kindly like, share and subscribe for more interesting videos. I didn't cry. Didn't scream. I opened my laptop and typed one word into a secure browser: evidence. Then I did something that would have terrified Patricia if she'd known. I smiled. Because the boring tech husband she was betraying had a past she knew nothing about. 6 years ago, I wasn't just some cybersecurity entrepreneur. I was a covert digital forensics specialist for the FBI Cybercrime Division, and I was damn good at it. My last case was Operation Black Ledger, a 15-month nightmare where I infiltrated a $900 million cryptocurrency trafficking ring. I built the entire case from digital breadcrumbs, traced money through 12 countries, compiled evidence so airtight that 47 criminals went to prison. Not one acquittal. Not one. The Bureau wanted me to stay, offered promotions, corner offices, the works. But my partner Jake died during the final raid. He had 2 kids. A wife. I'd assured him the intel was solid. I was wrong. I left 3 months after his funeral, swore I'd never put myself in that position again. Never again would I be caught unprepared. Never again would I trust someone who could destroy me. Then I met Patricia at a charity gala 2 years later. She was an elementary school teacher, volunteering at the event, sweet and kind with genuine warmth when she talked about her students. She didn't care that I'd built a successful company. She said she loved me because I was thoughtful and present. We got engaged after 11 months. On our wedding day, she wore white and looked like an angel. She whispered, "You're my hero, Anthony. My safe place." I believed her. God, I actually believed her. Now I sat in that same home office looking at our wedding photo on the shelf. Patricia radiant in her dress, me grinning like an idiot. I took the photo down, turned it face down on my desk. Then I opened a locked drawer I hadn't touched in years. Inside, my old FBI credentials, a burner phone still charged and ready, and a business card that read, "Marcus Chin and Associates, we win impossible cases." Marcus had been the prosecuting attorney on Operation Black Ledger. He told me once, over drinks after the verdict, "If you ever need someone to bury somebody legally, call me. I owe you one." I'd laughed it off then. Now I pulled out my phone and texted him, "I need the best. Money is no object. This is personal." The reply came within seconds. "The Anthony Mitchell? I'm listening." For 3 weeks I played the loving husband. I kissed Patricia goodnight, made her favorite breakfast, told her I loved her while my skin crawled. Every word was a performance, every smile a mask, and she never suspected a thing. Day 1 started with me bringing her a caramel latte from that expensive place she loved. I kissed her forehead in the kitchen while Audrey munched on cereal. "Love you, Patty." She smiled, and for just a flicker of a second, I saw guilt in her eyes. Just a flash, then gone. Love you too. When she left for book club, that evening I was already in my car following 3 vehicles back. She didn't go to book club. She drove downtown to a modern loft building, punched in a code, disappeared inside. I wrote down the address, took photos of her car in the parking garage, then drove home before she could spot me. I was already compiling data like the old days, timestamps, locations, patterns. She came home at 11:30, smelling of cologne that definitely wasn't mine. She kissed me deeply, desperately, like she was trying to convince herself of something. Meanwhile, I'd already sent Marcus everything. The voice memo, Patricia's schedule, bank access to the scholarship fund, every digital footprint I could gather. His response was immediate. Meeting tomorrow, 10 a.m., bring everything. That night, while Patricia slept beside me, I did what I'd sworn I'd never do again. I went hunting. Brandon Freeman, 29, nonprofit consultant, according to LinkedIn. But my search went deeper. 3 failed businesses before age 25. A sealed civil case from an ex-girlfriend claiming financial manipulation. Credit reports showing he lived way beyond any nonprofit salary. Luxury car lease, expensive downtown loft, trips to Cabo and Miami plastered all over Instagram. This wasn't some random affair. This was calculated. Patricia had chosen a con artist, and together they targeted everything I'd built. The scholarship fund wasn't just money to me. 3 years ago, my younger sister Maya died in a car accident. She was 19, straight-A student, full ride to MIT, her whole future spread out before her. At her funeral, I could barely stand. But I made myself get up and speak. I promised everyone there, promised Maya's memory, that I'd start a scholarship fund in her name. $50,000 a year, forever. I'd personally funded it with $800,000. It had helped 47 kids go to college. Patricia knew all of this. She'd held me while I cried at Maya's funeral. She'd been there when I wrote the first scholarship check, told me how proud she was. And now she was stealing from it. Stealing from my dead sister's legacy to fund her affair. That realization hit me harder than the infidelity itself. I could have forgiven cheating, maybe. People make mistakes, marriages falter. But this was evil. When Patricia woke that morning, I was already showered and dressed, making pancakes like nothing was wrong. "You're up early," she said, yawning. Couldn't sleep. Kept thinking about how lucky I am. She smiled, wrapped her arms around me from behind. I'm the lucky one. I flipped a pancake and wondered how she could lie so easily. Marcus Chen's office was on the 40th floor of downtown Denver's most prestigious building. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city, but I wasn't there for the view. Marcus wasn't alone. With him sat Jennifer Kwan, digital forensics expert and former NSA analyst. Robert Patterson, ex-IRS investigator who specialized in tracking hidden money, and Sarah Mitchell, no relation to me, a family law attorney notorious for winning the most vicious custody battles in Colorado. Marcus slid a folder across the mahogany table. "We've already started. Your wife is sloppy, Anthony. Very sloppy." Jennifer pulled up a screen showing spreadsheets, transaction records, bank routing numbers. "She's made 23 transfers over 8 months from the Children's College Scholarship Fund. Total, $412,000. Each one under $10,000 to avoid automatic reporting. Classic structuring and incredibly illegal." Rob added, "The money goes to 3 nonprofits, all registered within the last year, all with Brandon Freeman as a board member. From there it bounces through 2 LLCs before landing in accounts where Patricia is the beneficial owner." She thought she was being clever. She wasn't. Marcus leaned forward, his expression predatory. "Here's what we're going to do. We let her keep stealing. Every transaction is another felony count. We document everything, build an airtight case. And when we're ready..." He snapped his fingers. "We end her." I felt something cold settle in my chest. This was really happening. My marriage was over, my wife was a criminal, and I was about to destroy her life the same way she tried to destroy mine. "I want her to feel what I felt," I said quietly. "Every bit of it." Marcus nodded. "She will." Sarah slid a document across the table. "Sign this. It authorizes us to install surveillance in your home. Audio, video, everything. It's legal since you own the property and we have reasonable suspicion of ongoing criminal activity." I didn't hesitate. I signed my name and with it signed Patricia's fate. Jennifer added, "We'll need you out of the house for a few days. Give us time to install everything without raising suspicion." "How long?" 72 hours minimum. "Can you manage that?" I thought about it. "I'll tell her I have a business conference." San Francisco 3 days. Marcus smiled. Perfect. We'll have everything operational before you come back. While Patricia was at work teaching second graders their multiplication tables, a team of specialists entered my home. In 4 hours they transformed it into a surveillance state. 12 hidden cameras covered every angle. Living room, kitchen, master bedroom, my office, the garage, even the guest room. 6 audio recording devices. A keylogger installed on Patricia's laptop. GPS tracker on her car. Everything fed to an encrypted cloud server only my legal team and I could access. That evening, I came home and announced, "Honey, I have to fly to San Francisco. Tech conference, 3 days." Patricia's eyes lit up, too bright, too eager. She tried to hide it but failed. "Oh, that's okay. Audrey and I will have a girls' weekend." Our daughter Audrey was 6 years old, all curly dark hair and green eyes, obsessed with dinosaurs and still sleeping with her stuffed triceratops named Trixie. Lately she'd been asking strange questions that made my heart break. "Mommy, why does Mr. Brandon come over when Daddy's at work? And, why did Mommy tell me not to tell Daddy about our special friend?" I dismissed it before, thought maybe Brandon was just a colleague. Now I knew better. The next morning I kissed Audrey goodbye. "Be good for Mommy, princess." "I will, Daddy." "Will you bring me a present?" "Always." I hugged Patricia, felt her body against mine and felt absolutely nothing. "I'll miss you," she said. "I'll miss you more," I lied. I drove to the airport, went through security with my boarding pass, walked to my gate, then turned around and walked right back out. I drove to a hotel 10 miles from my house, checked in under a fake name and opened my laptop. 12 camera feeds blinked to life on my screen. I could see my living room, my kitchen, my bedroom. My home, but not my home anymore. There was evidence now. Nothing more. I texted Marcus, "I'm in position. Let's see what she really is." His response, "Good hunting." At hour 4, Brandon Freeman arrived. I watched Patricia answer the door in red lingerie I'd bought her for our last anniversary. She pulled him inside, kissing him desperately. They didn't even make it upstairs. What I watched over the next 67 hours destroyed whatever love remained in my heart. Hour 9, they were in our bed, the bed where Audrey was conceived, where Patricia used to curl against me and whisper about our future. Now Brandon was there and I watched every moment. My hand shook so badly I could barely hold my phone. I wanted to look away but forced myself to watch. This was evidence. This mattered. Hour 23, kitchen table, both of them with laptops open and coffee mugs I'd bought steaming beside them. Brandon said, "Okay, we've got 412,000 so far. How much more before he notices?" Patricia laughed, actually laughed. "He's so focused on his precious company he barely looks at the fund. I think we can get another 200,000 before we need to stop." "And the life insurance is 2.5 million? 3 million if it's accidental death." Silence. Heavy, terrible silence. Then Brandon, "Babe, you're not actually, what? Thinking about it?" "I don't know. Sometimes I fantasize. Like, what if his car just went off the road during one of his late-night drives? He works so much, always stressed. Who would question it?" Brandon looked uncomfortable. "Jesus, Patty. I'm kidding. Mostly. I just want out. I want this life with you, no more pretending to love someone I can barely stand touching." That line hit harder than anything else. I'd thought our marriage had problems, sure, but I believed she still loved me somewhere underneath. I was wrong. Hour 45, they discussed divorce strategy. Patricia had it all planned out. "I'll file first, claim he's emotionally abusive, never home, prioritizes work over family. I'll get Audrey the house, half his company stock. What if he fights?" "He won't. He's too honorable, too proud. And if he does, I'll make him look like a monster. I've been documenting every time he yells at me." She made air quotes, smiling. "He doesn't yell, but who's going to believe him over the crying wife?" At hour 67, I watched Patricia tuck Audrey into bed, kiss her forehead, whisper, "Mommy loves you so much." Then she walked downstairs and climbed into Brandon's lap. I closed the laptop. I'd seen enough. My hands were shaking, my vision blurred. I walked to the hotel bathroom and vomited. Then I made 3 calls. First, Marcus, "I have everything. Move to phase 2. Second, my executive assistant, "Clear my schedule for next Saturday. All of it." Third, a luxury event planner I'd worked with before, "I need you to plan an 8th anniversary party. 100 guests, spare no expense." When I returned from San Francisco, I brought gifts. A Tiffany bracelet for Patricia, a stuffed brachiosaurus for Audrey. At dinner, I took Patricia's hand across the table. "Baby, I've been thinking. 8 years, that's a milestone. I want to celebrate, really celebrate. Patricia looked surprised, almost guilty. What did you have in mind? A party. Next Saturday, our house, our garden. Family, friends, everyone who's supported us. Catered dinner, live music, the works. She hesitated for just a second. That sounds amazing. I already invited my parents, your sister Monica, people from the scholarship board. I paused, watching her carefully. Oh, and I ran into that nonprofit consultant you've been working with, Brandon Freeman, right? I invited him too. Hope that's okay. Her face went white for a fraction of a second. Brandon? That's fine. Great, actually. Patricia's older sister Monica had always been suspicious of Patricia's perfect life. At family dinners, Monica would make cutting comments. Must be nice having a rich husband. Some of us actually have to work, and Patty always gets what she wants. Since we were kids. 2 months ago, Monica had texted me, "Is everything okay with you and Patty? She's been different lately." I brushed it off then. Now I wondered if Monica knew something. That night, Patricia was unusually quiet in bed. You okay? I asked. Yeah, just thinking about the party. It's a lot. I pulled her close, felt her stiffen slightly. You deserve to be celebrated, Patricia. You've given me everything. She fell asleep in my arms. I stayed awake, staring at the ceiling, counting down the days. I texted Marcus, Saturday, 7 p.m., make sure the police are ready. His response came immediately, they'll be there. This is going to be legendary. The week crawled by. Patricia seemed nervous, checking her phone constantly, whispering to Brandon when she thought I wasn't listening. She had no idea what was coming. Saturday evening arrived. My home was transformed. String lights wrapped around trees in the garden, a live jazz quartet setting up near the pool, catered food stations with everything from sushi to prime rib, champagne flowing freely. Patricia looked stunning in a red dress I'd bought specifically for tonight. She worked the crowd perfectly, playing the devoted wife, laughing at jokes, accepting congratulations. Brandon arrived at 7:30, playing it cool, shaking my hand firmly. Congrats, man. 8 years is impressive these days. I smiled, gripped his hand just a bit too long. Couldn't have done it without Patricia. She's been instrumental in everything I've built. Marcus Chin was there, introduced as a business associate. Jennifer Kwan came as his date. My parents were there. My father Richard, a retired Marine, and my mother Claire, a former nurse who'd pulled me aside earlier that week asking if everything was all right. Everything's perfect, Mom, I'd told her. Everything will be clear soon. Audrey ran around in a princess dress, playing with cousins, completely oblivious. That hurt the most. At 8 o'clock, I tapped my champagne glass. The crowd quieted, turned toward me. Thank you all for being here tonight. 8 years ago, I married the woman of my dreams. Patricia blushed, waved modestly. People smiled. Patricia, you've been my partner, my confidant, the mother of my beautiful child. My voice changed then dropped lower. And tonight I want to show everyone, exactly who you are. Patricia's smile faltered. Something in my tone registered as wrong. I pulled out my phone. It all started 3 weeks ago with a voice memo. 2 large screens flickered to life in the garden. Patricia's eyes went wide with horror. Anthony, what are you? Her voice filled the speakers, breathy and intimate. Brandon, baby, I can't stop thinking about last night. The way you touched me. The garden fell completely silent. You could hear ice cubes shifting in glasses. I transferred another $50,000 today. He has no idea. The scholarship fund he's so proud of? Almost $500,000 gone. People started looking around, confused, shocked. Patricia's mother gasped. Brandon tried to move toward the exit. That was 3 weeks ago, I said calmly. Since then I've been busy. The screen switched to surveillance footage. Patricia and Brandon in our bed. Their conversations about stealing money, about my death, about using Audrey as leverage. Spreadsheets showing every stolen dollar, every fraudulent transfer. Patricia was frozen, her face drained of all color. Brandon was blocked by 2 large security guards I'd hired. My voice was steady, almost clinical. Patricia, you stole $412,000 from a scholarship fund dedicated to my dead sister Maya. You conspired with your lover to defraud me, discussed murdering me for insurance money, and planned to use our daughter as a weapon in divorce court. Patricia finally found her voice. Anthony, please, I can explain to them. I gestured toward the house. 2 Denver police officers and an FBI agent stepped out onto the patio. The crowd gasped, people backed away. Marcus Chin stepped forward with a warrant, his voice official and cold. Patricia Mitchell, You're under arrest for wire fraud, embezzlement, conspiracy to commit financial crimes, and money laundering. He turned to Brandon. Brandon Freeman, you're under arrest for establishing fraudulent nonprofit organizations, wire fraud, conspiracy, and money laundering. The FBI agent added, because this involved interstate wire transfers exceeding $250,000, these are federal charges. You're both looking at significant prison time. Patricia collapsed to her knees on the grass, her red dress pooling around her. Anthony, please. Think of Audrey. Our daughter. My face hardened. Every eye was on me. I'm thinking of Audrey. Which is why I've already filed for emergency full custody. With this evidence, no judge in the country will let you near her unsupervised. Brandon tried to run. He made it maybe 3 feet before police tackled him hard onto the lawn. People were crying now. Patricia's mother sobbed, "Patricia, what have you done? How could you?" Monica, Patricia's sister, approached me quietly. I knew something was wrong. I should have said something sooner. You couldn't have stopped her, I said. No one could. As police handcuffed Patricia, she looked up at me one last time. Mascara ran down her face. I loved you, she whispered. No, I replied. You loved what I could give you. There's a difference. 3 days after the arrest, I sat alone in my living room. The house was too quiet. Audrey was staying with my parents temporarily while the media storm raged outside. My phone wouldn't stop. Reporters, old friends, distant relatives, everyone wanting the story, wanting a piece of the drama. Marcus called. Patricia's lawyer reached out. She wants to make a deal. No deals. Anthony, listen. I said no deals, Marcus. She made her choices. She can live with the consequences. I hung up. That night I went into Audrey's room, sat on her small bed surrounded by stuffed dinosaurs, and held Trixie the Triceratops. For the first time since this nightmare began, I broke down completely. Not for Patricia, never for her. But for the life I'd thought I had. For the mother Audrey was losing. For the innocence that was gone forever. My phone buzzed. Unknown number, what you did to my daughter is unforgivable. You'll regret this. It was Patricia's father. I blocked the number immediately. I was done with threats. Done with all of them. 3 months later, I sat in a federal courthouse watching my wife beg for mercy. The trial was swift. The evidence was overwhelming. Patricia's defense claimed temporary insanity, argued I was emotionally distant, that she wasn't herself. The prosecution presented 67 hours of surveillance footage, bank records showing systematic theft over 8 months, the voice memo, text messages between Patricia and Brandon discussing exit strategies and my potential accidental death. Brandon testified against Patricia to reduce his own sentence, admitted the nonprofit scheme was her idea. Patricia's face crumbled as her lover threw her under the bus to save himself. When asked if I wanted to make a victim impact statement, I stood. The courtroom was packed. Your Honor, my wife didn't just steal money. She stole my ability to trust. She weaponized our daughter. She desecrated my sister's memory. My voice cracked slightly. The scholarship fund was meant to honor a young woman who believed every kid deserved a chance. Patricia turned it into her personal bank account to fund an affair. I paused, looked directly at Patricia. She wouldn't meet my eyes. I don't want revenge. I want justice. And I want to make sure she can never do this to anyone else. The verdict came quickly. Patricia Mitchell, 5 years in federal prison for embezzlement, wire fraud, and conspiracy. Brandon Freeman, 7 years for establishing fraudulent nonprofits and money laundering. Patricia was also ordered to pay back $412,000 plus penalties and interest. When the judge read the sentence, Patricia fainted. Bailiffs caught her before she hit the floor. I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no relief. Just a vast, empty nothing. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. Mr. Mitchell, how do you feel? Are you dating anyone? What about your daughter? I pushed through them, got in my car, and drove straight to my parents' house where Audrey was waiting. 6 months after the trial, Audrey and I moved to a new house. Smaller, cozier, with a big backyard for the golden retriever puppy Audrey named Daisy. Audrey was in therapy twice a week, processing everything. She asked fewer questions about mommy now. Some days were hard. Most days we managed. I'd rebuilt the scholarship fund, now at $650,000. We awarded the first post-scandal scholarship to a young girl from a single-parent home who wanted to be an engineer, just like Maya had been. At the ceremony I said, Maya's dream was that every kid gets a chance. One person tried to steal that dream. But they failed because we don't give up on dreams here. The crowd applauded. The girl cried and hugged her mother. I felt something close to peace. That evening Audrey and I were in our backyard roasting marshmallows. Daisy chased fireflies through the grass. "Daddy?" Audrey asked quietly. "Yes, princess? Are you sad?" I looked at my daughter, my entire world now. She had a marshmallow stuck to her cheek. "Sometimes I am. But when I look at you, I remember what I'm fighting for. I love you, Daddy." "I love you too, Audrey. More than anything in this world." Later, after she was asleep, I got an email from Marcus. New client case. Woman whose husband embezzled from her business. She heard about your story. Wants to know if you'd consult. Interested? I stared at the email for a long time. The worst thing that ever happened to me could help others. I could take this pain and turn it into something meaningful. I typed back, "Send me the details." I looked at a photo on my desk. Audrey and me at her kindergarten graduation, both of us smiling genuinely. "We're going to be okay," I whispered to the empty room. And for the first time in over a year, I actually believed it.